A woman knocked on my door and asked if she could give birth in my bedroom, the same place her mother and herself were born, but I obviously said no, and now she's screaming on my doorstep that she's in labor and needs to. I, 26, bought the house I'm living in 2019 from this lovely older couple. I thought, as I'm sure anyone who has been in this situation might think, that the signing was going to be the last time I ever say them, or had anything to do with their family. I was wrong. Yesterday, I got a knock on my door. I opened it to find a young couple, probably my age, maybe a bit younger. The woman was pregnant, and looked like she was going to pop any day. I asked who they were, and if I could help them. The woman replied that this home used to belong to her parents, and that she was born in this house. I asked again what it was that they wanted, since that didn't really tell me if they needed anything from me. She told me that her mother had also been born here, in the upstairs bedroom. For context, this is now my bedroom. She then asked if I wouldn't mind letting her bring the stuff that was needed to give birth in the same spot as she and her mother were both born in. I said no, keeping in mind that A, this isn't her or her parents' house anymore, and B, that the bedroom in question is my bedroom. Now, I thought that this was as normal as a response as was possible given the strange question, but when I was telling my friends about this afternoon, one of the girls in the friend group said that it was pretty cruel of me to tell a pregnant woman where she can and can't give birth. I didn't think that what I had said was all that strange, considering I had never met the couple before, and I don't exactly want a strange woman giving birth where I sleep, but my friend insists that I could have come to some sort of arrangement. So here I am, asking yous guys. Am I a jerk? Update. Well, I didn't think I'd be updating, but this got crazy. So, if you remember from the original post, the apparent daughter of the previous owners of my house came to my door a little bit ago and asked if she could give birth in my bedroom. Honestly, it's as crazy as it sounds. Reading my original post won't make it make much more sense. A couple of things before I get into it. Some friends have shown me that the post has indeed broke Reddit containment, and pointed a few things out to me. So I'm gonna set a few things straight. Most other websites assume I'm a woman. I am NB, and will not elaborate further on that point. Not being snippy about it, but I just wanted to set the record straight, lol, on that point. Second thing, some people have assumed this was fake-based, and that I probably made up the scenario because they think I think it's hot. No, I don't. I think the entire scenario is creepy and off-putting. And lastly, yes, I know that 21 is pretty young to be buying a house, and made the whole thing seem fake. I live in the Midwest, which is pretty cheap to begin with. It's not a huge house, and I got a small claim after an incident at work, so I used the money from that for my future. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what I say. I know some people will still assume I've made the whole thing up, or used check to make it, but that said, if you don't think this is real, just move on with your day. I truly wish it wasn't real. Last note, there were a couple of people asking why I got the cops involved with the original incident, and I only got them involved when the original homeowners told me that the woman was a bit on the loose screw side of things, so I did that because when you are told that the person who came to your door might have been a bit unhinged, you take that step for your own peace of mind. Anyway, last week Friday, at about 1:30, I get a knock/heavy pounding at my door. I go and answer, wondering just who the hell would be visiting me in the middle of the night, when I see a familiar face at the door. It's the pregnant woman, with her husband/boyfriend/partner, I don't know what, and two women, who I assume are midwives. From what I gather, the woman went into labor earlier that day, and is hoping I changed my mind. I haven't and ask them all to leave. The woman starts having either a breakdown or a contraction or something, because she just starts screaming on my driveway. One of the other women in the group explains to me that they drove 4 hours to get here, and if I wouldn't mind letting them set up? She tells me that the woman had told them that she had arranged for the house, and that she was nearly ready to push. From what I understood, the woman had lied to her midwife about me agreeing to this, and had essentially tried to trick her into forcing me into letting this happen in my house. I tell her a firm no, and that if needed, there's a hospital only 5 minutes away from where I live, the same hospital my friend works at from my original post. No, she wasn't be there. She was on vacation at the time, and asked them all to leave. The woman starts screaming and crying about how I'm ruining this for her, but between me closing and locking the door, her partner, and her midwives, she gets back into their van and drive off. I don't know if this was a guilt trip, or if they were delusional or what, but here's the thing about me. I'm an absolute pushover. I probably would have just pretended to be asleep and not even opened the door and waited them out. But here's the thing. I had a different friend, her wife and their highly autistic child spending the night on their way back home after the holidays. I'm cheaper than a hotel, lol. All the noise and commotion, plus the unexpected midnight visitor severely triggered the kid, and it took nearly 2 hours to calm her back down enough to get her to sleep. She's a good kid and means the world to my friends, so having someone else who would have been severely affected by this, I managed to find a bit of my spine, which is why I wound up opening up the door to ask them to leave. Honestly, I shouldn't have even opened the door and just called the cops first thing, but the good news is that after a couple of minutes talking to the midwife, she agreed to take the whole show elsewhere. After they all left, I did call the police on the non-emergency line and update them on what was going on, and gave them the footage of the previous incident and the latest video I had the incident. I'm really hoping that now she's given birth, that she'll leave me alone. Either way, in addition to my Ring camera, I've asked my neighbor to keep an eye out and call me if anything happens while I'm at work. I also got deadbolts to install for all of my exterior doors. I changed the locks when I bought the house, which honestly seemed to have been a good idea, but this is just to make me feel a bit better about the whole thing.